Good morning. First off, I'd like to say welcome. This morning, I have the pleasure to be up here on behalf of the Missions Committee to introduce my good friend and brother, Diego Rojas. Diego was born in Costa Rica, and he moved to the United States when he was 15. Diego graduated from Freed-Hardeman in 2008 and has a master's in pastoral counseling. After that, he was a missionary in Costa Rica for 11 years before coming back to work for Freed-Hardeman as the spiritual growth coordinator for athletes and assistant soccer coach. In 2023, Diego and his family moved to Green Bay, Wisconsin to become their bilingual minister. Diego's married to Catherine, and they have two sons, Noah, who is 4, and Franco, who is 1. In summary, Diego, he's a pretty cool guy, and he loves God, and he loves the church, and he especially loves the church in Green Bay.
Thanks, Brian. Morning. May God bless you. So I was born in 1984, September 7, which is today my 41st birthday. My wife is sitting in the back over there, straight there. So if you want to drop any presents for me, I'll be glad to welcome them. Just be mindful that I'll be flying back to Green Bay tomorrow, so I cannot take anything big in the luggage. But my name is Diego, and that's my business card. I thought about bringing 1,000 of them. I just thought about maybe just putting it up there. You can take a picture of it or ask some of the people that I know here. I'm sure they have my number. Email, I cannot hide from them. But I'm very blessed to be here with my family and good friends that we served in Green Bay together. And one of the things that we did back home in Costa Rica, we had a church, the Church of Christ in Barva in Heredia, Costa Rica. Some of the people here have been there actually when they were members at Great Oaks in Memphis. And we had a church, and my dad is an elder there now. And I worked there for 11 years before moving back here. In September of 2023, I went to Green Bay to become the bilingual minister, and it has been a blessing to be there. There's so much I can say about Costa Rica, I just don't have the time. So there may be some people around here today who have been in Costa Rica with us. Today, later this morning, or maybe this evening, we'll have some people visiting that have been with me to Costa Rica, or you have this wonderful family here, and you can ask them about it as well. And one of the things that we do in Green Bay is that we're making disciples. Derek and Trisha Vaughn are here also. They're sitting in the back row next to my wife. And if you want to ask them anything about Green Bay, they have great information. They have a great perspective of how the work happens there. These are just some of the numbers of the things that we've been able to do. I'm not going to bore you with that, but I just put it on the screen because it makes me look good. These are some of the things that I've accomplished. Again, I'm not going to bore you with that list. You can ask me, Derek, anyone on the missions committee. They're able to get that list. I'm not going to bore you with that, but I just put it up there because it is my job to keep up with that. And our mission, as I was told when I got to Green Bay, is to make, mature, and multiply disciples of Jesus. Thanks to the Vaughns that came up with that great idea of that mission, we have that mission in Green Bay. And so today I want to share with you, using Luke 19, the first 10 verses, how we're accomplishing that, how we are making disciples, maturing them, and multiplying the disciples of Jesus in Green Bay, Wisconsin, which is also a mission field. Just the city alone is over 100,000 people. And just in that city, 1 or 2 out of 10 people are bilingual. They're Hispanic. And so we are on a mission field for churches of Christ there in English, but we're also on a mission field there for people that need the church in Spanish. And so the first thing that we're doing is we're making disciples of Jesus who are loving. That's our goal. Disciples of Jesus who are loving. In Luke 19, Jesus is just passing through Jericho. And I love that idea that Jesus was just passing through, because there's a great church in the south of the United States called Mount Juliet. And they brought this VBS to us this summer just passing through. Some of the people there are, all of the people there in that photo are wonderful, wonderful people. You should meet them sometime. I hope you do. They're wonderful people. They came this summer with the VBS, just passing through. And that's what Jesus is doing. He's just passing through Jericho. And one of the things that happened many, many years before that is that the walls fell down, but God loved the people. And the people of God loved others. And there is a lady named Rahab. And Rahab experienced the love of God through the people of God. And she was saved, even though she lived on the walls and the walls fell down. And now Jesus is passing through the same place, through Jericho. And now there was a man who can be the recipient of the same love of God, just like Rahab was. And guess what? Today, whether I'm in Costa Rica or Green Bay or Mount Juliet, there can be a Rahab, there can be a Zacchaeus, because we're just passing through earth. And our mission is to make disciples of Jesus. And we accomplish that by loving the people. More importantly, I am that Rahab. I am that Zacchaeus. God loves me. Jesus died for me because he loves me. How would I not love others? And that's the story in Luke 19. God is love. It's not just something that he does. It's who he is. And therefore, if we're disciples of Jesus and we're the people of God today, we are going to be loving. We moved to Green Bay, Wisconsin. Our good friends Derek and Tricia are sitting back there. The Wilson family, the Brinkers, the Dukes, many of them, the reason why we went there is because they loved others. They had an opportunity to hire an English-speaking minister, but they loved those two ladies sitting on the table with us at the House of the Bones back in 2022 when we first came there. That first night, that was our first night, Thanksgiving week in 2022. And they loved Margot and her family and Marisol and her family. And they loved their children. And because they loved them, we said, that's a good place to go because there are other disciples of Jesus who love others. And we teach our kids are bilingual in the church, most of them. And we teach our kids, Jesus loves me, this I know, but we don't want to tell them just because the Bible tells me so. Also because the disciples around them, the people that they see, are loving like Jesus loved Zacchaeus. That's what we want to tell them. It don't matter how high they are, how tall they are, Jesus loves them. That's what makes us do things like bring Christmas presents to people we hardly know. Because God is love and we are his people. That's why people are getting baptized, because they want to follow Jesus. On the bottom right corner, that photo of Mr. Luis. That photo was the day of his baptism. He couldn't get out of the house. We had a nurse there. He was baptized in his house. There was about 50 people, his family members. Mr. Luis originally came from Puerto Rico and lived in Green Bay. He was baptized. He had terminal cancer. 17 days later, he passed away. And now he's with God. He was a disciple of Jesus, and now he's with God because he found loving people. His son-in-law was a pastor for a church in Green Bay that I don't even know the name of, but he was like a pastor for over 10 years. And now Daniel, his son-in-law, preaches for us. He's a U.S. citizen, and he is a great addition to our church. We are making disciples of Jesus who are loving just like Jesus is loving. Number two, we're visible. Jesus was visible. He was so visible that Zacchaeus knew that, and Zacchaeus knew that Jesus was going to pass through, so he went ahead and climbed on the tree because he had several difficulties. Zacchaeus was rich. There was nothing really for him to go see Jesus. Other tax collectors, chief tax collectors were probably wondering, what is Zacchaeus doing? Want to see Jesus. He had another difficulty. There was a crowd. Sometimes we have that difficulty among us. We have a crowd of people telling us what we need to do, what we ought to be doing. And sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean they're helping us to see Jesus. He had a crowd in front of him, but he also was short in stature. But those things didn't stop him to see Jesus. And when I see that, I remember that there are people anywhere, everywhere in the world who want to see Jesus. And that's my focus. I'm going to help the people who want to see Jesus see Jesus. I'm all about becoming visible. We do a lot of things digitally. We print a lot of things. I go around town and post things about the church, even at coin-operated laundry. As you can see some of the pictures there. We've printed banners. We've done ESL classes. Tricia has been our main teacher there. And you can see some of the classes that we've done, free ESL. We've gone to Paul's Pantry and served just to make the church more visible. And it's great. We have, I'm on the board of trustees for the Herald of Truth, and in it, we have a ministry called MESA, M-E-S-A, which stands for Mission Evangelize Spanish America. And one of the things that we offer other congregations in the United States is geofencing, the opportunity for you to make ads, so when people go to certain locations in Green Bay, they get our ads for Green Bay Church of Christ. And we offer that, and we take advantage of that at Green Bay. And so we become very, very visible. We play soccer. I like soccer. I was a soccer coach. I played for free back in the day when I was younger. And so I like soccer, and we have soccer games and soccer events, and we make the church visible. And all of those things are great. But there's something else that I do. I take lots of selfies. And so that's kind of like my thing. Derek can tell you all about it. If you see my photo album, and the photo album that I share with my team and with my employers is lots of selfies with lots of people. But I tell the members at church, that's my job and that's my thing. I take selfies. I make the church visible in the community and digitally on social media, etc. But I tell them this. The goal of being visible is that others can see Jesus in you. I want disciples of Jesus that come to church and that when they get out of the building, people can see Jesus in them. That is the goal. Jesus said on the Sermon on the Mount, just starting in Matthew 5, verse 14, a city on a hill cannot hide. And you guys have that name. You're Mount Juliet. Your name, half of it, is already on a hill. Your mount. And the other thing that you have in the name is Juliet. And something about Juliet, it means youthful. You're on a mount and you're youthful. And I was telling Elizabeth yesterday, and I told this to my friend Philip. By the way, Philip's birthday is today as well, and we're both turning 41. But I just want to make sure that you know, he's 4 hours older than me. So if you see him today and you say, happy birthday, Philip, and you remind him that he's older than me by 4 hours. This group came in the summer to Green Bay, and I told Elizabeth yesterday, I reminded her, I said, I think you guys have the best youth program in the South. Then I thought, no, in the U.S. No, I thought maybe in the world. And I told that to Philip. I said, Philip, I think you're the best youth minister that I've ever known, the best youth minister in the world probably, to which he responded, you need to hang out with more youth ministers. But you're on a mount, because your name is Mount Juliet, forever youthful. You cannot hide. We got to be light. Jesus said, that's the purpose of it. Our light shines on people so that they give glory to God, that they can see Jesus in us. And that's what we're trying to do. We're making disciples who are visible to others in the form of Jesus. That is our goal. Number 3, we're making disciples who are not hurried. If you were all from Latin America or other parts of the world, I would probably skip this point because a lot of us are not in a hurry in other parts of the world. I was in Kenya a couple of years ago, and they're not in a hurry. Hakuna Matata is an actual thing. I thought it was from the Lion King. No, it's Swahili. It's real. Worship was at 10. And I was like, to my friend John Hackett, we went together and did a leadership training there in Kenya. And I said, man, when are they going to pick us up? And he said, don't worry about it. I've been here many, many years. I was getting anxious. Me, a Hispanic, getting anxious about time and being late. They picked us up. I don't even remember what time. I think we got to the building, to the school there. It's like a university college. They have a Church of Christ there. We got there like 11:30. People were waiting for us. Anyway, we're making disciples who are not in a hurry. Jesus comes to Zacchaeus. He sees Zacchaeus, and the first word that he says after he calls his name is hurry. Now, that is a funny word in Greek because it sounds like this, speedo. The first thing that Jesus says to Zacchaeus is hurry, but if you follow the whole verse, he says, hurry, come down so that we can go and I abide in your house. What does that mean? I think it means, Zacchaeus, you live in a hurry. You got up there in a hurry, come down in a hurry so that we can go and live with no hurry. We got to be at your house. We live in a society, in a culture that lives in a hurry. I don't live in the South anymore. I used to live here in Tennessee, and things get a little bit hurried up north in the Midwest. So Zacchaeus quickly came down and welcomed Jesus happily. Jesus, that's what he offers. Jesus said, come to me and you will find rest. Come to me and I will give you rest. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to make disciples of Jesus who are rested in their lives, in their souls. Disciples of Jesus who find rest. And that's why we need to become visible as Jesus to others who see in us people who live peacefully, people who live in rest. These are some of the photos that you can see from us. A lot of the photos in my album you're going to find we're actually just sitting down in a house eating. Which I know you probably question that because you may say, is that actually in the Bible? Is that something Jesus actually did? I think so. Jesus ate sometimes. Most times you're going to find Jesus at a house, like in Zacchaeus' house, eating. The bottom left corner photo, just a few weeks ago, I was invited to go and lead worship on a boat. And I asked some questions, and they said, no, you do everything. And I said, are you part of a church? No, we just want people to come and preach the gospel. That's all we're asking you. I said, where's the catch? And so we ended up going. We took about 30 of our members from Green Bay to Door County. Nice vacation spot. If you're ever tired of the heat in the summer and you want to go to a nice vacation spot, Door County is just an hour and 30 minutes from Green Bay. And we went there. We got on the boat. We didn't have to pay anything. In fact, we collected the offering and brought it back to the church. But we led worship. Ismael and I led the singing, and we had bilingual worship. We brought about 30 of us, and there was about 70 people who got on the boat who were just tourists in Door County. And they got to listen to the gospel. I know it's very unusual to talk about the gospel on a boat, but it felt so much like Jesus, worshiping God on the boat, on the water. I promise you, I didn't get off the boat to try to walk on the water. Don't worry about that. But we're just making unhurried disciples who take their time. We were together that day, the whole day. We had Devo, we had Lord's Supper, we had lunch together. We played in the water. We were together because we're trying to make disciples who do not live in a hurry. This weekend, it has been that way for me. I've been at the Burkes. Me and my family have been at the Burkes house, and we've been eating. We ate last night with the Perrys as well at their house. Yesterday, we went to the zoo with the Harrises and also with Brian and Elizabeth. And all of that may seem to some of you like, Diego, when are you actually going to work? This is the best part of my work. The best part of my job is to make disciples of Jesus who do not live in a hurry. We're making disciples of Jesus who don't live in a hurry because Jesus was not in a hurry. You may remember John 11. Jesus is told that his friend Lazarus is going to die. And Jesus didn't even go in a hurry. He took 2 extra days before he got there. I mean, the sisters were a little bit upset when Jesus got there. Lazarus had died, but Jesus raised him from the dead. And sometimes we got to do that with our friends and with the people around us. We got to say, take it easy. Jesus is in control, and he'll raise us from the dead in this life. And that's why we're baptizing people. Because we want to resurrect with Jesus into a new life. If you're becoming a disciple of Jesus, I hope your life is different than those around you who are not believers or followers of Jesus. And number 4, the last one that I want to share with you is we're influential. We want to make disciples of Jesus who are influential. So Zacchaeus comes down, and then they're at the house, and people are questioning why Jesus is with Zacchaeus. There's nothing in verse 7, nothing in verse 8 that Luke records that Jesus said to Zacchaeus. There's nothing here in this verse or the next one that Jesus said to Zacchaeus. Luke, one of the most detailed Gospels that we have, makes the decision to not tell us what Jesus said to Zacchaeus. Only that Zacchaeus made a decision. He was transformed by the presence of Jesus. He makes the decision to change his life. He was influenced by Jesus. And this is what I like to tell others. We will influence other people as they experience Jesus in us. What you say may be important. I get paid to talk. But what you say is important, but the most important is how you live your life and how others experience Jesus around you. So many things we do, whether we are playing soccer, whether we are just sitting together having a Bible study, whether we are serving with the Young Life community in Green Bay, whether we're baptizing people or teaching at a Wisconsin Bible camp. We are helping train other men to teach and lead. All of that we're doing, officiating weddings, etc. Whatever we do, we're just trying to influence people to become more like Jesus. We're making disciples of Jesus who are influential just like Jesus is. And that's why Jesus said, today, salvation has come to this house. Because Zacchaeus was being influenced like Jesus. Because that's what Jesus came to do. He came to save. He came to seek and save that which was lost. I want to thank you on behalf of the Church of Christ in Green Bay for helping us make, mature, and multiply disciples of Jesus. Thank you for helping us and for doing your part. We really are appreciative of people like you who follow Jesus and who do a great job helping us. Perhaps you may have a need. Perhaps this morning you may feel like you need to become more loving like Jesus. Perhaps you feel like you may need to become more visible as Jesus to others, or that you live in a hurry and your life needs to slow down so that you can show Jesus more in your life and experience more of Jesus in your own life. Perhaps you need to be more influential. You've been struggling because you want to be more influential to others. But there's something that you can do today, maybe differently, more like Jesus. You may need prayers. And I'll tell you, I need your prayers. I'm a missionary in Green Bay, Wisconsin, who is originally from Costa Rica. And that ain't easy. I live part of my life here in Tennessee. So I'm a double foreigner up there. And it's been great being this weekend here in the South, in Tennessee, my second home. Thank you for your time. I hope this lesson is applicable to you as it is to me. There's my information if you ever need me. And if you have a need this morning, we're going to sing a song of invitation, and you may come forward as we sing that song of invitation. Thank you, and God bless you.